Sheila, you happen to know Josef Albers and even Annie Albers at Yale when you were studying, right?
Right.
Could you tell us what was going on? What happened? How they were?
New Haven, Connecticut, north of New York. Albers was in charge of the Yale School of Art.
Yes.
And I studied painting with him in 1954 until 1957. And then I went to Chile at his request to teach his basic design 2 and 3-dimensional and color class in Universidad Católica in Santiago, in Chile,
Wow.
on a Fulbright scholarship. Then I came back to Yale, and in 1959 he gave me MFA, Master of Fine Arts, for painting. But meanwhile, I had discovered with George Kubler, the art historian at Yale, the whole history of pre-Incaic weaving, pre-Columbian weaving. And that fascinated me. And I began, along with painting, experimenting with textiles and weaving structures. And when Josef Albers saw me doing this, he told me to report to his office, and he was driving me to his house to meet his wife.
Wow.
So I investigated who was his wife. I didn't know, but it was interesting because she was interested also in very active in her own way, privately at home, because she wasn't teaching. She had taught formally, as you know, in Black Mountain College.
Yes.
When they came up to Yale, there were no female teachers, very few female students, only in the drama, music, art department, but not in the general university. So she was rather isolated, and they lived in a little clapboard house up in New Haven, but north. I think it was in North Haven. Anyway, he drove me to their house, introduced me to his wife, and went downstairs to paint in the basement, like he did every day. I'm told by Cy Silman, who was his assistant and who was also my teacher. And I showed her the things. He told me, bring the things you're working on to show to his wife, which I did. And she asked me to come back and to bring my camera, because he told her also I photographed a lot, that I liked photography and I had a camera. If I could help her photograph works, she was preparing for an exhibition, also in Connecticut. It's going to rain.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So I got acquainted with her and photographed her work. And she looked at my work, and he drove me maybe, I would guess, at least 4 or 5 times out.
But what was the reaction to your work?
Well, not particularly interested.
Really?
No.
What about him?
Well, I mean, why would she be interested? I was just doing very humble, modest, investigatory kind of backstrap weaving, like the Andean weavers. She was a very sophisticated, accomplished weaver. She had a real loom.
Okay.
She was working in her house on a loom, and I think she had an assistant who came and helped her too.
And what about Joseph? How was he with your ideas, your work?
He was very supportive. He was very influential. And he was very directive.
Ah, really?
So I did everything he told me.
And you keep
And
on?
it worked.
You keep on listening to his voice?
Yes, and I appreciate it.
What did he say?
Look. Shut up and look. That's what he told all of his students. Because all of his students would have to show things and then they try and justify them by speaking. Mm-hmm. And the descriptions of what they thought or were trying to do didn't always coincide with what it looked like or what it really, ended up being. So he would ask the other students to look at what he's made or she's made, mostly what he's made. But let's not discuss it. Let's look, and after we've looked long and hard, then let's comment it. But let's not present it with a lot of words before we even look.
And what was the relation? What was your feeling about the relation between the two of them?
It's raining. Should we keep talking?
Just 1 minute.
Okay. I'm going to step. I feel sorry for you. You're in the rain.
No. But just tell me that and we finish.
Okay. What was their? I have no idea what their relationship was because I never saw them together. I only saw them when he drove me and passed me off to her, and then went down to the studio to work. And then the worst part is, he would drive me back to the bus stop, which was quite far, out in the country there, and I had to wait for a bus to go back into New Haven to school. And that's where I had all of my good ideas, is waiting for the bus at the bus stop. Because I was thinking, I'm learning a lot about color from him, and I'm looking at what she is showing me, and it's about structure. Because I didn't connect at all with her notion of color. You look at her work and you'll see. You wonder why she was living with Josef Albers.
That's interesting, right? Bon, merci beaucoup. Now is the storm.